glitters, glamour. That's how people see the fashion world from the outside. In reality though, behind each fashion brand, there's a designer who's working, dealing with doubts, and who's torn between his creativity and a business to run. There's a hardworking designer doing their very best, and sometimes even doing your best isn't enough. But what if you were standing in your own way? In this video, I'm going to share 4 very common things the designers I work with are afraid of. We're going to talk about being afraid of pricing your pieces and how you can get past it. We're going to talk about the scary thing number 2, money and business, and maybe you're afraid of this and it holds you from growing. Number 3 thing you might be scared of is selling. Scary thing number 4, which is showing up in your fashion business. Coming up! I'm Beko Romini from the next iconic fashion brand. I'm the founder of Fashion Cross Functional, in short Fashion FXF, and I help fashion designers like you with tips and strategies to grow your fashion business. I'm also the author of the book called The Fashion Business Plan that gives you the foundations to build a profitable fashion business and write your own fashion business plan in case you need to show one to business partners or just for yourself actually. So today, in the spirit of Halloween, I'm going to talk about the 4 scary things that designers I work with and that you are blocked with at the beginning. So let's start with scary thing number 1, pricing your clothing. Lots of designers I work with struggle with the idea of putting a monetary value on something that they've created with their own hands. I don't know if it's your case. Maybe you feel uncomfortable putting a price tag on something you put your heart and soul into. What is the reasonable price? Where do you put the cursor? So there's a technical answer to that question. Let's go through it. You try to find a price that covers all the costs involved to fabricate your garment, so material, trimming, production, packaging, and you add a margin on top. This is the theoretical answer. It's a formula. But this doesn't mean you're comfortable defending this price in front of a customer. Usually, when we do this exercise, we end up with a rather high price range that you designers feel uncomfortable defending. Now, I'm going to give you something that helps you deal with this resistance. First, you need to make a list of all the things that scare you with the pricing. On the top of my head, what I hear a lot during my coaching sessions is, I'm afraid my customer will say it's too expensive. I'm afraid the customers will try to renegotiate the price. I'm afraid nobody will buy. I don't even sell at the present price range. Who would buy it at this price range? So once you've admitted out loud your fears about pricing, you can fix what needs to be fixed. The thing is, everything needs to be and feel aligned. If it doesn't sell, it means that you have the wrong product in front of the wrong customers. That's it. Maybe you don't target the right niche. Maybe your collection is all over the place and doesn't have a real vibe that you convey to your customers. Or maybe you're trying to push a certain style, let's say athleisure style, to an audience that has nothing to do with athleisure, with a preppy audience, for example. Maybe you're pushing premium prices and your presentation, your website, your social media doesn't feel premium at all. Maybe you don't build enough connection with your customers and you're not doing the steps to bond with them and you're just pushing too hard to sell without sharing your why, your story, without even exchanging and interacting with your present audience. If this is something you're struggling about, by the way, storytelling, you can watch last month's video about how to plan your fashion marketing. And it's right up here. And you'll see all the advice I have on that. So once you've worked on fixing the strategy part, you can go back to how you feel about your pricing. If it still feels scary to you, it can also be due to some self-love or self-image issues that you might have. This is also something I address with the designers I work with when it stands in the way of their business goals. So we do that during the one-on-one scale-up intensive coaching sessions that I have with the designers I work with. So these issues are usually deeply rooted into you and your history. Generally, there's a little voice that keeps telling you that you're not good enough. You're not worthy of asking this much money from your customer. So you need to identify where this belief comes from. Which moment or situations in your childhood, maybe it's something that your family kept repeating, like money doesn't grow on trees, right? But you need to work on these beliefs. I've done that work in my own path, and I personally loved T. Harv Eker's Millionaire's Mindset and Dennis Duffel Thomas's Get Rich Lucky Bitch. So I've read both, I've been through both, and I leave the links at the bottom of the video. Go through it, it's really amazing. You'll see, try it, do the exercises. It changed my own life, and I hope it does the same for you too. We're going to move on to scary thing number 2 and what you can do to change it. But before we do, if you're getting value out of this, hit the like button below and tell me in the comment, are you comfortable with your current price range? Moving on to scary thing number 2, money and business. I don't know if that's how you feel as well, but a lot of emerging designers I work with don't like money or have an issue with money. To start with, my family. I grew up in a craftsman family. We made high-end embroidery with a 24-karat gold thread for officers of the French army. My family was very successful back then, and we earned a lot of money doing this. But when we lost our main client, the French army, as a client, everything went falling apart, and my family didn't want to face the money issues. My grandfather kept ordering the 24-karat gold thread from Lyon in France, which was very expensive, and he didn't have the business to sustain it. He didn't want to abandon the prestige we had earlier, but he didn't do what needs to be done business-wise to address a new niche, to adapt to a new clientele, to adapt his craft to respond to that new niche. So he didn't do all those steps to find a new niche and do his marketing correct. And unfortunately, it's a thing I see a lot of emerging designers do. You do well what you know how to do well, like sewing, draping on a mannequin, but you don't know how to deal with the rest. Telling people about your business, for example, finding clients, selling, dealing with the invoices, balancing your bank account so that you have enough money to sustain your business and yourself as well. So you try to do it as best as you can, but honestly, it's a disaster and you don't know how to deal with it. And this is not your fault. Nobody taught you how to do this. So it's normal that you don't know how to do it. So it happens to most of the emerging designers I work with. They're overwhelmed with the financial and business aspects of their fashion brand. And maybe this happens to you too. But here's the deal. This is a business you're dealing with. It's not a charity. It's not a church project. It's a business. And the ground rule in business is to make money so that you can sustain your entire brand and yourself, by the way. So to help you face this fear of facing your business, I do a few things. So first, I buy a beautiful set of stationery to prepare mentally and put myself in the mood to deal with it. You know I love pink, right? Pink is my favorite color. So I bought everything in pink in my stationery. I bought a pink hole puncher, a pink notebook. It's all pink. And I also bought a pink calculator. Everything is pink. And I even did a magazine collage with a binder that contains my entire accounting. And for my weekly numbers review, I automated everything so that I don't have to I don't get lost into the detailed things and calculations I need to do. And I also set it up all pink as well. So everything is pink. It motivates me. It makes me happy. So there, I'm motivated as well to open my accounts and my book. So don't be shy. Make it yours and get craftsy. Second, I book a date in my calendar, 3 hours, for example, to just work on my business. Then I pick 1 or 2 topics depending on how long it takes to go through them. For example, work on my strategy or do my statistics or prepare my monthly invoices. And then on D-Day, on the day that I booked, I get myself some good wine and put a relaxing music, get scenting candles, and I really make a date or a nice moment out of it. Trust me, it changes everything. It will transform the entire experience and the entire moment into something that you look forward to in the end. Now, in a few seconds, I'm going to share about scary thing number 3, which is selling and how to feel better about it. But before that, I wanted to pass this question to you now. What are you the most scared of in your fashion business? And if you've been getting value out of this video so far, press the like button below. So moving on to scary thing number 3, which is selling. We've talked about pricing, we've talked about money and business. This third fear is sort of a combo of the 2 previous ones. Ugh, so many designers are so scared of this, selling. And I get it, you're afraid of people's reaction. And I'm going to be honest with you. I've had the same fears. I've worked in sales, in retail, in ready-to-wear, and in luxury boutiques as well. The clients can feel scary, they have high expectations. I already know that. I've done that daily and dealt with that daily for months. But your fashion business will never grow up if you keep avoiding the problem. Selling is part of owning a fashion business. It's a necessary step to make it grow, okay? So I get why you're afraid. I really get it. I've been through that again, but this needs to be done. So now I'm going to share what I've done to face my own fears of selling. For your sales to feel less like a burden, you need to strategize and to prepare in advance. Okay, so it's mostly strategy and preparation work. Strategy because you need to know exactly what kind of customers will wear what in your collection. There's no miracle. You need to have that data and you need to study that in advance. So you need to know your customers by heart and have a feel of what they expect. How do they live? Where do they live? And you need to have a speech ready for each type of customers. For example, back in the days when I was behind the counter and I saw a client coming in, I discreetly checked out her style. So let's say, for example, the first client comes with a vintage Valentino bag, big brand sunglasses, bold color choices. So this one will be interested in the daring, one-of-a-kind, fashionable pieces of your collection, and she needs to see those ones, not the classic traditional pieces. The second client, she wore Longchamp bag, navy blue jacket, straight jeans, and loafers, traditional Parisian client. I showed that client the quiet, regular pieces, the classics of our brand that never wear off. To her, you won't show the neon green coat that just came in or the oddly shaped pair of pants. And when I talked to her, I used those words, classics. Okay, so I also change my speech according to the client I have in front of me. The third client, for example, let's say she's very discreet with a low hanging bun, clothes that are obviously made of natural fabrics, and a linen tote bag. Well, to this one, I will be talking about our fabrics, how they are chosen, how we work with our factories and our suppliers, how the clothes are made and by whom, our initiatives and new projects in terms of sustainability and upcycling. I know it sounds judgmental, but it's actually the contrary. It's just about making your customer feel home and helping them find what they feel is important for them. Show them that you share common values, show them that you get them, show them that they're home with you. By the way, if you want to know how to better understand your customers, a few chapters of the Fashion Business Plan are dedicated to that with dedicated workbooks included in the book. So check it out. I leave the link at the bottom of this video. Moving on to our next and last scary thing, number 4. Showing up for your fashion business. Yes, I see this very often with the emerging designers I coach. They are afraid of showing up. Maybe it's your case as well. It appears in various ways. Maybe you are afraid to post on social media. Maybe you are afraid to sell because of a combination of all the 3 scary things we talked about: pricing, money, business, sales. Maybe you skip the big events like fashion trade shows and fashion shows, fashion conferences. Maybe you don't show your work and you're hiding until it looks perfect. That's another way to avoid things. Maybe you compare yourselves to these big established designers with their successful businesses and you think to yourself, I could never do that. Maybe you think that you're not good enough, or maybe you think that you have nothing interesting to share or to say. You're not alone. There are a lot of emerging fashion designers who feel this way at various stages of their business. So it's really normal, nothing to be ashamed of. It happens. But whichever the way you avoid this, whichever the feeling, in the end, you end up hiding in your comfort zone and nothing really happens for you in your fashion business and it tanks. You need to get out of this rut. Face your fear of showing up. and go out there. So there are a lot of techniques that I use during my coaching session in the one-on-one scale-up intensive programs that I have with emerging fashion designers. First, you need to stop comparing yourself to others, especially those big brands. Of course, it's scary to show up if you compare yourself to an established luxury brand like Dior or Chanel. Learn from them, but don't compare. Then, start with what you have. If you need to show up with social media content, talk about what you're doing. Be simple. Show your workshop. Show how you prepare your delivery for customers. Show a video of you while you design or while you're sewing. Share people what inspired you to design your collection, why it touches you so much. Show a work in progress with a zoom on your patterns and the garment in the making. Share what you worry about. Share how you look for supplies. Show them how much you care about every little detail on your garment. So there are so many things you can say that are in your head, but people go for this kind of content. They want this. People love this because this is you. We don't need another Dior or another Chanel. There is already one. Be you. You are valuable. Your voice and your story are unique. So start telling them. We want to know. By now, I have shared all my tricks to overcome the 4 scary things that emerging designers deal with and that keep your fashion business from growing. If you want to work on this on a deeper level and be able to really see things change for you and your business, you can check the one-on-one scale-up intensive program. It's a one-on-one program for emerging fashion designers like you, where you get to work hand in hand with me. So there are actually 2 versions of this program. There's a 3-month version with 6 hours with me and a 6-month program with 12 hours with me. So during this program, I audit your strategy, I give you a roadmap, and I give you all the tools to go from point A to point B. Every 2 weeks, then we will meet, we do a session so that I can check your results and so that we can also adjust what you're doing until you reach your goal. So if this is something that you're interested in, and if you are fed up of working without seeing any results, you should really definitely check the one-on-one scale-up intensive and connect with me on Instagram and DM me about how you're doing and what you're looking for. As always, I loved spending this time with you, fashion designers. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next month for our next video. Bye!